2 minutes until showtime.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. As always, Ben and I have a wonderful show for you. In the second hour, we'll be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And in the first hour, we're going to go all the way over to London, Whitechapel specifically, better known as the Silicon Roundabout. Okay. We're going to be talking to Mr. Mark Horneff. He is the managing director for Kuato Studios. So we're going to be talking about what it is they do there. They're a world-renowned game studio, and we're going to be talking about their Code Warriors program, which teaches coding to students. It's just really very interesting, something that we know that you'll find fascinating, and we're going to be bringing him on as well. So sit back, relax, as we bring to you 2 hours of Computer America right here at this location, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m.
1 minute until showtime.
Eastern Time. Look at that. Okay. It looks like the video with Hangouts is working properly, because I just want to take a look at it. So it seems to be working.
Okay. Already doing better than yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Ten seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it looks like everything's working today. Isn't it wonderful? And yeah, you know, I just say a little word of thank you every time the technology gods smile down upon us here at Computer America, because that means everything is working as it should. Yeah, we had a little snafu with Google Hangouts yesterday. We're not sure what it was, but fortunately the archive, the video, was preserved and it's up and running. So if you missed the video portion of that, but I can see on my screen here that viewers are coming in and they're able to see the show. So that's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the live video yesterday, it seems like it was out, but the video, you know, if you really had to see something, I don't believe we did any kind of video demonstrations or anything like that.
No.
You know, just the usual rigmarole that we usually do. Yeah. But of course, you know, the audio was intact the entire time. So.
And the video, as I said, has been archived, so you can watch it if you want to. So that's all there. Anyhow, welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show, as I said, and we got a great program for you. In the second hour, we're going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. And we had so many stories yesterday, we just couldn't get to them, and we only did a short version of that anyway. So we have at least we have the full hour in the next hour to look at some of those hot stories that are brewing in the technology and computer world. So that's all coming up. In the first hour, we're going to yesterday we were in Israel. Right. Well, now today we're going to go all the way to London. Okay, our guest is in London, Whitechapel. He's going to tell us about the Silicon Roundabout, which I've never heard that term before, so he'll explain what that means. But Kuato Studios is here today, and it should be very interesting. They're going to be talking about they're a gaming studio, but also they have a program called Code Warriors, which is I think that's going to be of great interest to you, our listeners today. Now, if you have a comment or question for him, please give us a call. 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. If you have a question you don't want to go on the air, we have another way for you to do that. It's real simple. Go to computeramerica.com. On the upper right-hand corner of every page there, okay, anyone, take your pick. It'll say submit a question. Just click on it. It's a link. It'll take you to our question submission page. You can type in your question or comment for our guest. Hit the submit button. Ben and I will see it instantly, and we'll act upon it accordingly. Okay, so you can do that. The other nice thing is our live video stream. We are a radio talk show, radio broadcast, but we also now provide live video streaming of our program. And the way for you to see that is just go to computeramerica.com. Any page there you'll see it says Show Lounge. It's on the menu bar. Just click that. It'll immediately begin the live video stream. If you're doing this between Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m., you will be joined to the show already in progress. You'll be right up to the moment, so you can hear and see everything that we're talking about as well. And Ben has the technology to display websites, movies, videos, that type of thing, so you can see all of that, as well as Ben and myself. And also in the first hour, you can be able to see our guest as well, because he's joining us via the live video stream as well as the audio stream. So that's all the different things that you can do. Ben, anything else you want to mention before we get started?
No. Everything Craig just said, and I say we just get right into it.
Okay, well, let's do it. As I mentioned, our guest is from Kuato Studios. It's a game studio that inspires and engages learners by capturing the excitement of learning through video games. I like that. Capturing the excitement of learning through video games. Now, backed by Horizons Ventures, their London-based studio is home to talent from world-renowned game studios. Okay, and the AI specialists and award-winning education experts. This unique mix of skills fosters a culture of innovation and healthy creative friction between the development and educational sides of the studio, ensuring their games find the perfect balance of learning without compromising on fun. Now, joining us is Mark Horneff. He is the managing director for Kuato Studios. Hey, Mark! Welcome into Computer America. How are you? And you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Got it. That was a fantastic introduction. That makes me sound very grand, and I feel like I've got a lot to live up to now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were quite doing all of that, but that's very impressive. It's great. It's great to be on this show. And have a chance to talk to you guys about education and games and some of the stuff we're doing.
So you're in London right now, in Whitechapel, which I guess is what a suburb of, or an area.
Yeah, so Whitechapel, unfortunately, most famously known for Jack the Ripper.
Oh,
but, that's in fact our local establishment drinking hole is where he used to hang out, apparently.
So what's Silicon Roundabout?
The Silicon Roundabout, about 5 years ago, there was an initiative in London to sort of promote entrepreneurship and get tech companies up, and basically the press team, because there's this big roundabout, and around it a whole load of office buildings sprung up full of startups, and it's our equivalent of Silicon Valley. We have a Silicon Roundabout, and we have more tech startups in that area than anywhere else in the whole of the UK.
Wow. Okay, so it's sort of like Silicon Valley it's yours.
Yeah, but a roundabout, so not quite as grand.
Yeah. Okay. Is that like a cul-de-sac?
yeah. I mean, it's great, but it is literally everyone is around the roundabout. It's and it's the whole area is just sort of sprung up. It used to be a big financial fair, but now it's a big media hub. So
I know you're going to be you're based in London. I know you're going to be flying out to the U.S. You've got some travel plans, but why don't you? For now, you're based in London. You're still in Kuato Studios, based in London. So why don't you give us a little background? Yes, I did. Thank you. As you said, I did a nice introduction for you. But why don't you tell our listeners exactly what Kuato Studios is and when it was formed? Just give us a little background and what your part is with the studios.
Yeah, so the studio was formed about 4 years ago, and formed with a very simple idea that I've worked my entire career. I've always worked in computer games. I started out doing education in computer games, straight out of university. It was sort of my end of year project, ended up being my first company.
Uh-huh.
And what it is having worked in computer games, I've worked at Sega, I've worked at Sony, I've kind of worked on very big titles.
Wow.
I always wanted to go back to education because it felt to me that the perfect place that games should be applied.
Mm-hmm.
But in setting up a studio, a brand new studio, I didn't want to set up the standard kind of education studio. I wanted to create a place where we made products that allowed learning to happen. Because the truth is, and you guys know this because you run a very entertaining show, that if people are entertained and engaged, they retain. It's not rocket science, and it really isn't. It's the reason I'm walking out of cinema quoting lines or humming a song all day. You know,
exactly.
Kind of.
It's all about the entertainment. I mean, obviously, entertainment is the pleasing side. You know, things that you're drawn to. So if you can make whatever you're doing entertaining.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why, you know, an idea like this grabs so many people is because that education has always been, you know, this very, oh, you're not entertained? That's too bad. You're going to be tested on this, and if you fail, you're, you know, whatever consequences are going to come from that. Like, entertainment was never really the point. Engagement. You know, we always said that was the mark of a very, very good teacher, is that you could engage your students. But engagement and entertainment was never really the role of education by any means.
No, although there, as you say, there have been fantastic teachers. Fantastic teachers have always been trying to grab the latest media or the latest, you know, ways to engage their students. I mean, when I grew up a while ago, I was the TV was going to rot my brain. It was the most evil thing ever, and my mum was always trying to stop me watching it. But there isn't a classroom in you know, that doesn't utilize video or TV or a screen in some form. It's become an established tool, and I very much think that games will become the same way, because at a very base level we learn through playing. I like to believe. I mean, even doing this interview now, I've role played it in my head a few times. How might it go? And that's an act of playing and practicing and learning. And somewhere along the line we lose that as we get older, and I kind of think the computer games allow us to ignite that again.
Well, I certainly see that you're into computer games. Anybody watching our video and looking at the background, and Mark, we can see all the games in your background. A bunch of them there that I can recognize there. Wow.
I mean, seriously, kudos for that, because I mean, nowadays, like, I haven't purchased a physical copy in quite a while of video games.
That is our game.
Yeah, they're all digital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this wall goes all the way down that way. This is I'm obsessed with rules and games and design cups. So yeah, this is it goes all the way down.
Wow. So okay, continue, please.
And so having that kind of goal, that was what we started. The first thing that we realized was to be a different kind of studio, and this caused us a lot of headaches. We went out and hired some teachers and brought them into the studio. So we had this weird eclectic mix of game industry vets and coders, and some of them rather cliched who hadn't seen the sun for a while and had been coding for a long time. and then we have teachers who don't know about production schedules and crunch times, and we got to this point where we had real serious drag out arguments in the studio about how far can you stretch a fiction and still illustrate a fact. Like in computer games, if you're doing a biology computer game, for example, can you kill a creature and have it drop a crystal? Because the moment you do that, you break some biological rules. And it took us a good, I'd say, year and a half of creative friction to find the equilibrium we've arrived at, which allows us to build learning games, not education games.
So, how many people work at the company?
So we fluctuate. We're currently at, I'm going to say 17, but if we're at 18, I don't want to alarm anyone when I go in tomorrow. So it's around 17 or 18. And then we have some freelancers around in Europe and a few in America and a couple in China that come in and help us at crunch times.
Okay. So the idea at Kuato Studios is to make the games, or is to make the educational factor? I mean, how are you blending them together?
Yeah, so it's both. So we make the games, we apply all the learning and all the analytics in the background. So to give you an example, if you take something like Safari Tales or Dino Tales, which we launched earlier in the year, they are, for all intents and purposes, 3D exploration games where you look after cute animals, cute dinosaurs. They get hungry, tired, thirsty. They need, all the stuff that a child wants to do, nurture, but they're full 3D, beautiful exploration games. We didn't want to make anything patronizing. I didn't want to make 2D graphics or simplify it. I want a game that a young kid can play that their older sibling looks over their shoulder and goes, I'd like to play that. So they have a pride of place. Now, behind that, we have, as a studio, when we were set up, we have some exclusive licenses from the guys from SRI, the guys that did Siri.
Yes, sure. Okay.
So we have a Siri-like engine behind our products that allow the user to interact with them, talk with them. So there's a little interactive character called Darwin. He can tell you how to say good morning, mum, in Swahili. He can tell you what the biggest dinosaur was. He can tell you where he goes shopping. All sorts of questions are in there. And then what we do is, while the child's playing, interacting, asking all these questions, in the background, we are computationally turning it into a storybook. So everything they do gets crafted into their own journal, their own storybook of the adventure they've just played, which they sit down and read with their parent. So we close that circle, and it's custom compared to what they do. We have no idea what they're going to do. It was a real headache designing this, but it generates a storybook for them.
So the purpose of generating a storybook is for them after playing the game is so they can interact with their parents who don't need a computer.
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Yeah. So one of the things I was aware of was that the same parents who will download any app that has an ABC or a 1, 2, 3 and give it to their child are often the same people who moan about screen time. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to kind of complete circle and say, hey, look, you'll get emailed, sit down with your child, read the story, and see the questions they've asked, see the adventure they've had, and read it. And some of the most heartwarming things I've seen is when people say, I let my daughter play for 15 minutes, she brushes her teeth, puts her pajamas on, and then we read the story together before she goes to bed. And then within the story, you can sort of mad-lib it. You can play with the adjectives and verbs, so the child has to have the comprehension to play around with those words. So all the learning is embedded. It's not any point test orientated.
Did you mention Mad Libs, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I used to play that when I was in camp. That was a lot of fun. Give me 3 nouns, give me an adverb, and then they would put it in the body story, and it would come up with something really weird and unfun.
Yeah. And so that's inspired the storybooks. The storybooks are editable by changing adjectives and verbs and nouns, and they get to customize, but they have to understand
what those words are.
Yeah.
You have to know what a verb is. Yeah.
So it's all and one of the things I was amazed at, I have to admit, I was a little surprised. I thought they were going to use Darwin just to ask, where's the volcano, where's the musical band, but actually, from our analytics, they've asked every possible paleontological question that we had in there. They've constructed them all themselves and done it. So the learning is happening.
Yeah. Well, that is very, very cool.
Well, and something that's big over here in America when it comes to education is it's one thing to teach a kid, but that's really not the point over here. Over here, it's a quantifiable result on what you've taught them and how much they have retained. And you mentioned there that you really don't test the kids at any point about what they learned. It's all picking things up as they go along, and so. How would you say that parents are seeing their kids, kind of grow from using this?
Yeah, well, that's absolutely a very valid point, and we did address this because while the child's engaged and we are seeing great interaction time, actually for this age group, kids are playing for about 18 to 20 minutes in one sitting, which is quite unusual. But obviously, from a parent's point of view, or a teacher, they need to see some data. So behind all of this, particularly in Code Warrior maps everything the child does to a set of learning outcomes based on the UK coding curriculum. So right now, if you played Code Warrior and you played it for, I don't know, a couple of hours, you would know exactly where you are on the coding curriculum. You'd know exactly where your learning outcomes. The teacher's able to plot this against the classes and compare it on a class level, on a regional level, on a national level, and on a global level, and see where the child's learning is. And we have mapped I think within Code Warriors we have over 1,000 learning outcomes mapped that are teaching where the child is, not just in their ability to code JavaScript, but in how they retain it. We look at things like how often they press delete, how often they restart, how often they fail. All of this user behavior is modeled and given onto a dashboard for a teacher to be able to see how the child's doing and see that while the kid's playing the game over here and having a great fun and they're blowing each other up with robots, they're actually learning and moving through the curriculum in the way that the teacher wants them to.
And if you're watching the video, you can see Ben. He's actually running some of the movies and some of the videos that are on the Kuato website, so you can see that. So let's bring into the mix Code Warriors. I mean, I'm thinking earn your coding rank. I'm looking at all these different things. Tell us about Code Warriors, and first of all, where did the idea for it first begin?
So Code Warriors originally was called Hikitsu, and you'll notice we've got better at naming our games as we've got older. Hikitsu was a name no one was going to remember. It was harder than Kuato. So when we put it onto browser, we thought this is a perfect opportunity to rebrand and come up with something a bit easier, like Code Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Code Warrior is basically, it's a game where you custom build 2 robots, you build them yourselves, and it's a sports game in that I have to get across the maze to your side of the map, and effectively I download your core. I steal it from you, and you're trying to get to my side. The twist is that obviously we can blow each other up as we go along, so it's a balance between blowing each other up and trying to get to the other person's core. The way you control the robots, though, is through JavaScript. So we teach JavaScript, the beginnings of JavaScript, as you start to progress, and we have those ranks change your interaction with the code. And by that I mean, when you start off at novice, you can program with just one finger. You press the robot, you press the function you want, and you press where you want it to go, and it generates the code for you. By the time you get to Code Warrior, you're writing code, and it's a very natural progression as you move forward. And all of that's mapped, as I say, to a full analytics platform in the background. But usually the pupils just see the full achievements board as they would expect to see on an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. May I ask why your choice was JavaScript? I mean, there are a number of things out there. I mean, there's even there's HTML5, all these things. Why did you settle on JavaScript?
Originally, when we sat down to do this game, JavaScript was the most visual and the easiest for us to teach. I always had a lot of JavaScript expertise within the studio, so that was quite handy to draw on. But one of the things we've done is the platform is language agnostic. So we're right now working on a Python module that we'll be able to put in, so then you'll be able to learn Python or JavaScript. It'll be your choice.
Oh.
And then we're adding other languages as we progress. So it's not really tied to that. JavaScript, at the time we did Hikitsu, was the language of choice when we spoke to teachers. By the time we released it, Python was starting to gain a lot more popularity amongst the teachers. We're now adapting to that.
Okay, so Code Warriors is basically what, aimed at school students? I mean, what level are you aiming for here?
Yeah, it's had a funny life because it was originally released just as tablet only on iOS, and it's funny. It's sort of the little app that could, because while we haven't done a lot of advertising or marketing on it, it just keeps having a following. Every time we would review the weekly sales, there was this title that we had sitting in the corner that was always doing better than everything else. And so we were like, we need to go and address this. Now, the difficulty of gameplay, I've seen kids as young as 8 pick it up no problem.
Really? 8?
Yeah. 8's not at the code finger level. So they might not progress to typing, but they are generating code and moving robots around. They understand intuitively, press that robot, I want it to move, I want it to go here, I want it to press that robot, I want it to move, and I want it to fight that. They can do that. It generates the code. And then the really nice thing is when you see that lovely playthrough, there's a code window attached to the robot, so you see it step through the code. So if you never go past that, you start to understand code, be able to read code, or at least understand that it drives the characters. So as young as 8, as old as 14, I'd say. And although I've got quite an active league where I play against people, or I get beaten by people quite often.
That's to me that's almost anti-intuitive. What I keep hearing. I mean, I keep think of the millennials and Gen X and have you. I hear things like, oh, they're not really interested. They don't want to pop the hood and look under the for the car engine. They don't. They just want it to work.
Well,
And
they don't. That's why people like Mark have to trick kids into learning. It's all a grand scheme.
It's not quite. I'm not quite the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's kind of. I tell you, we go into schools a lot. The studio does go into schools a lot. One of the great things of having David Miller, who's our award-winning teacher, is we have access to schools both here and in the States, and actually in China as well. And one of the things I've found is when you sit down and you talk to kids, you go, here, let's play some coding. Do you think coding's important? What I actually find is a lot of them turn around and go, well, this is how I'm going to do my company. I'm going to make an app. They seem to, there's an area of entrepreneurship right now where people know they want to be the next Zuckerberg. They want to go out and make the next big app. And they think coding or understanding coding is the way to do it. And it's really quite, sorry.
Do you think people like Zuckerberg are becoming the next heroes? It used to be cowboys and what have you when we were kids, and I was.
Well, yeah, I mean $1 billion. Can't anyone look up to you? That's a good goal.
And now it's the big heroes seem to are becoming these guys. Do you think that's part of the mix?
Yeah, I think once we got to a point where we were carrying around technology and social media and like my mum playing Candy Crush. Once you get to that stage and it becomes that embedded in society, celebrities, Mark Zuckerberg's a celebrity for every intent and purpose. He's out there, he's doing press conferences, he draws big crowds. So, but that's a great celebrity to be looking at, regardless of what people's personal opinions are. He's set up his own business. He's got his own media empire. I think that's a great thing for kids to be aiming at.
Do you think parents are now coming around to that? Because it used to be, you mentioned earlier in the interview that, they're spending too much time on their computer and they need more time out in the swings or playing. Do you think parents are also coming around now that they're realizing that this is not really a waste of time, that this is actually a career choice? Kids can make a great living.
Well, I'm still trying to convince my parents that video games aren't a waste of time, and that's still a losing fight.
No,
so am I, and I've been making them for 20 years.
Right.
I think they do. I think actually it's an interesting problem because again, when I took my options over here, which is when we have a different education system. At 14, you pick your specialty there and then. You sort of pick how you want to specialize. And I did computers, graphics, and German, and my mum was like, that will never tie together. Whereas now, that's every media applicant I see. I think there is.
You keep throwing it up to her and saying, "See, you were wrong."
Yeah, and then she says, "But you do computer games. That's evil," and it all gets. Or she says, "Can you get me past this Candy Crush level?"
Exactly.
I'm immediately an expert at gameplay. I think one of the things with coding, the problem is it's also making parents, like you say, they need to be educated that this is a career path.
Yeah.
Because it is a technology that is going to be, that is sort of superseding the tech that they had, and it's a place where kids are already learning.
Yeah.
They already live there. That this is their domain, and I think there is, particularly this couple of generations, we've seen like an industrial revolution in technology in terms of we made a massive leap where we hadn't for so many, a few decades before. So we suddenly have an internet that we didn't have, a while ago. We suddenly have information at our fingertips. We are the art of the pub argument has disappeared and been replaced by Google instantaneous answer. You don't need to retain information because it's here whenever you need it. And that means that we're going to have to learn new ways of learning, new ways of analyzing, new ways of retaining and applying context to facts. And I think that scares parents because it's an unknown, it's an unknown region.
Well, this question may run you into our first commercial break. Half an hour flew by so quick. But why is it important to get kids interested in coding when there's plenty of job opportunities for tech-minded people when they enter the job market? But why is it important to get them interested in this kind of thing early? Like, why isn't this just an option maybe in high school, maybe in college, like it has been in the past? But now it seems like there's a real concerted effort to get kids more interested in STEM younger.
I think okay, so that's a big question.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we may have mentioned, here in the UK, it's now compulsory that every secondary and elementary school teaches computer science. It used to be ICT, which was about how you use a printer. Now everyone is learning to code in the UK. That's just done. Partly because last year we had 50,000 computer graduates. Okay, so but it's estimated in 2017 there'll be 750,000 computer science vacancies, which is an incredible skills gap. And I know I can't remember the exact facts, but when I've spoken to people in the States, you're like 10x that problem. Do you know what I mean? And so first of all, getting them educated and getting them, there's a vacancy for very well-paid jobs there. There is an opening for skills that can only be filled either by homegrown talent or going abroad to bring that talent in. So there's a problem there. The reason I think you need to approach them at a young age is coding is a language, and coding is it's just like any other language. You can express yourself beautifully. Apparently, I talk to coders, and they tell me that's a beautiful piece of code. I take their word for it. But there is a simplicity and a poetry in that, and I think grasping that while you're full of imagination and at a younger age is a really important factor.
Well, yeah,
and getting
I mean, elegance in coding is certainly exists, and as you mentioned, I think when you're younger, your brain is a little bit more plastic. It's more suitable for things like that. Of course, you know, you'll always find that some are more gifted in other areas. You know, but you know, if it's going to come out, certainly that's the time to explore it. Mark, we're at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to take a little break, and then we got lots more to talk about with you. So stay with us here. Ben and I are talking to Mark Horneff. He is the managing director for Kuato Studios. We're really going to get into more on the Code Warriors program that they've established. 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. We've got another news test bulletin review from Marty Winston. That's all coming up here on the Computer America Show. We will be right back.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
You can't tell pork sausage from a groundhog. Hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time the Ecobee 3 thermostat. One of the prettier ones out there, both in terms of its panel and its interface, and it's got a pretty good brain behind it. It comes with a companion remote. Both connect over Wi-Fi. Both can read both temperature and motion in the room. The main unit's got the user interface and can give you local weather. You can set it up over the web or its app to either average the temperature settings of the two units or to follow me and have activity indicate which one should set the thermostat. Or if it sees that both have no activity, it reads that as nobody home and relaxes the readings. So bottom line, an ecobee3 Wi-Fi connected smart thermostat and its remote sensor companion offers opportunities to both add to comfort and subtract from energy bills. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin review. And just want to say, everyone, be sure to stick around for the second hour because, of course, we will be doing computer and technology news. Thanks, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. But, yeah, I just found a news story about a $10,000 home pizza oven by GE. So, you know,
$1,000?
yeah, you know, if you were looking for something that only costs 5,000 pizza, or no, 500 pizzas, then, you know, to make a pizza, this is for you. So, you know, this is very interesting.
You have to really be into pizza for that.
Yes, but you know, there's some gadgets in there that make it tech worthy. But you know, but here in the first hour, we're talking to Mr. Mark Horneff. He is he's from Kuato Studios, Kuato Studios, and we're talking about Code Warriors right now and how they are blending games and education in a very entertaining way for kids, so that they learn how to actually code. You know, right from young ages. And you know, just getting back into it, kind of wanted to ask you. You mentioned that you get these different things called coding rank, and you know, you mentioned at the very beginning it's almost a point and click kind of deal for younger students. And yes, they pick up some. You know, they see the basics. They may not be doing it, but they definitely see it, and they definitely interact with these robots in this game in a very precise way. Are these ranks the key to Code Warriors into that you are giving giving Code Warriors to school-age children, and that can be anything, you know, like I said, from 2nd grade to 5th grade to 8th grade, you know, so on and so forth. Are these ranks the keys to, you know, because a 2nd grader is going to be far from an 8th grader? Are these ranks what make Code Warriors suitable for that many different kids?
Yes, sorry, I think I'm having a few network issues. Yeah, the ranks are interesting because students can, someone who's 14 might get to the Code Warrior rank a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's because they've effectively marked game difficulty, and along with game difficulty, not so much in terms of the AI that you're fighting against, because the game is very much a multiplayer game, online network fighting against other players and competing against other players to see who the best coder is. But you will move through the ranks as you gain points and do certain missions.
All right, so Code Warriors have ranks. What are some of the? What is the rank? Okay, what are they?
So you start at novice, you're novice coder, and then you get to junior, you get to coder, and then you've got Code Warrior. So by the time you're a Code Warrior, you're writing code and typing it fluently.
Interesting.
And we've now trying to wonder what would come next.
Well, it's sort of like a bragging. I would think is it being treated like a bragging right? You know, I'm a Code Warrior now.
Yes, yeah. So there is very much from the gameplay level. There are achievements to unlock. You know, so I've killed 5 robots in a row. I've written my first line of code. I've programmed my first function.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are they're standard game achievements. They're a language that we all want. I want to get all the achievements. But behind the scenes, that's where the true analytics and where you'll see the difference between an 8-year-old or a 14-year-old, because you'll start to see their competencies, or what we call fluencies, in coding, and where they are on the curriculum, or which a teacher can then report to the parent or to their headmaster or mistress and show that learning is happening.
You sort of implied that. Do you think you might have more levels? So students can get a feeling of accomplishment. I'm on this rank and I'm this next one, rather than just having Code Warrior. I mean, are you level 1, level 2, level 5? What do you different levels in there? Do you think that might be appropriate?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's important. It's important for the student and the player to know where they are and how they're progressing. Ranking and climbing ranks or gaining titles is a very standard gaming trope. So even just by putting it in there, it makes people feel more comfortable that they're playing a real game, and it is a real game. Effectively, it's a strategy game, an asynchronous strategy game where you blow each other up. So using game language like that is very important. It also helps us on a matchmaking side because we can put people of similar rank together. So we look at how many matches you've won, how much you've lost. There's a computational sort of I might not be paired. You would probably not be paired with me because I'm terrible, and so therefore we're able to pair people of similar skill.
It would almost be, I would think of like as a bragging right. Hey, look, I'm a level 10 or I'm a level 20, or how the higher the number,
Well, and that's the thing. It's you mentioned that there was a multiplayer aspect to this where I'm assuming students play against other students.
Yes.
Is this open to the public? Like, am I gonna run into some stranger who's fighting against school kids and just dominating them? Just like, get out of here, you little code warrior. I'm there.
I like that. Well, the way it works is a teacher logs on and they get a teacher account, and they can set the students up within their school, so they can keep them contained within the class. You yourself, you can go onto the website now, and you can set up an account and start playing against people, and you'll be matched with people across the globe and play asynchronous games with them. You might come across those students, but you'll never know, because all you'll ever see is their gamer tag. You get no information about them. There is no direct communication with them. It is just a case of you will say, I want to start a match with you, and you will receive their moves, make yours, and send yours back until one of you win.
So you're obviously, this is doing well. You're making progress. There's an enormous amount of interest in this. Can you tell us about some of the work you've done in the UK schools? Like, have you helped, let's say, previously disengaged kids engage in mainstream education with this technique?
Yeah. So one of the things we started on this initiative, an hour of code, where we thought we'd go into 100 schools and give them an hour of our time to teach code, which actually turned out to be almost 100 days of code, because by the time you go in, these kids really get quite involved, and it was, what started as an hour session got out of control, and then we had to supply it to everyone. And what we found is that, and particularly this is what happened when I was doing my university project, is that some of the children that had learning difficulties through maybe emotional behavior or attention spans were really engaged. We've had genuine stories of teachers saying that kids have come in the next day and have continued the work that we were doing in the classroom, or have written stories or drawn pictures, or have been inspired by the work they've done, or have sent us designs for new robots, or want to be part of it. And the most heartwarming bit is when you find out that it is. She says, I've got this child who's been completely disengaged. I've not been able to reach him, and suddenly there he is, because he's playing a game, and he's seeing, or she's seeing, the learning happening. They're not.
And they're sort of in charge of that game too. I mean, they're part of the creation.
Yes.
I mean, so it's more than just playing the game. They're really involved with it.
It's also, that was actually a bit of a challenge, because part of the fear that teachers have is that they won't be as good or understand the game as well as the students, because they take to it. So so naturally that you bring something in the classroom and the power shifts. So but and we've seen it. We've got kids going, Miss, look what I've just done. I've done this. So we had to come up with a whole load of teacher guides, a whole load of videos. David worked with a team of teachers to write 6 lesson plans. So when you use Code Warriors in the classroom, your first 6 lessons to the minute are planned for you, which is just, again, another free resource to go with the free game.
And teachers are finding that workable, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that when they introduced coding onto the UK curriculum, that there were a few more teachers on beaches relaxing before that September, because they didn't have to prepare their lessons. So it was, and it's helped really dispel, a bit of the myth of, if I bring a game into the classroom, it's going to be disruptive. The teachers are really getting on board with it. We're finding a great adoption at the moment. We're just constant, and we work with them. We go into schools, we talk to them about all our products. Go past kids. I didn't release Dino Tales for 3 months. I delayed it because I put it in front of our council of 7-year-olds, and they told me it was wrong. So
Well,
they turned around and told me that the controls needed changing, that there weren't enough things falling out of the trees. They were very, very specific, and so we went back and fixed all of those things.
How'd that make? How'd that?
beta testing is very important. You know, it's
Yeah, it really is. But it was it's funny because it's you can I've run focus groups before, and with adults they're a bit more wishy-washy. With a kid, they'll tell you, I want wasps falling out that tree. It's a very specific thing that they want, and it's like when I drink water, the dinosaur needs to fart. I need to hear that. If I don't, your game's no good. And you're sitting there going, well, this is a very demanding group. So we delayed it. 3 months we delayed it. It was we missed Christmas because our council of 7-year-olds said no. So,
do you find any discrepancy or I mean, here in the U.S. we have was it SMART? We have the where they're engaging women and girls in technology.
a lot of initiatives from a lot of big tech companies to get more diversity into
Right.
tech.
Do you find that that's something that you're coming across too? Are you finding that more encouragement is needed for girls and women?
Or are you unfortunately hitting a part where it's just, oh, check it out, we have a classroom full of kids and only the white males are into this. This sucks.
well, yeah, interesting points. So girls and women in technology, there should be no reason there isn't there. I think part of it is a lot of the application of some of the early coding. It was taught in a very dry way. It was very maths orientated. It was the science before the computer. I've spoke to a few girls, and one of my favorite quotes a girl told me at a classroom was she doesn't mind blowing things up. She just wants to know why she's blowing it up. Whereas, the boys are like, I just want to see an explosion. And that sat with us really early on in the studio, and we thought actually, the activity can be the same, but the context might need to change a little bit. With Code Warriors, which is perhaps a bit too male in its design, but when we bring it to the classroom, the girls are engaged in it just as much. They see the objective, they understand the coding, and then when I mentioned earlier about the entrepreneurship, they're usually the ones that want to start a new company. They're the ones who can see further where the technology can take them. And I think technology companies as a whole have an they have a role. They should be out there promoting and changing the environment and making it a lot more friendly.
Did that surprise you, or did you just kind of accept it?
It didn't surprise me, partly because I have 2 daughters.
Uh-huh.
So I've been educated over the last 11 years, so I know. But I guess maybe I had a few. I've worked in the games industry for 20 years, so I've seen that it's a fairly male-dominated environment. But at the same time, some of the most talented people I've worked with, in fact, we have a studio. At one point, we were 50-50 in our hiring process. So I think it's just a case of it's going to take a few years, particularly people who are engaged right now. But I think as we get maybe 10 years from now, it should be a completely even playing field.
Well, do you have to do anything in particular to encourage more girls and women to code, or do you think it's just going to happen? I mean, given the platform.
Yeah, I think there are outreaches. I think one of the reasons again of approaching STEM at a younger age is some of the prejudice or some of the misconceptions haven't had time to take root, so everyone can just engage and go, actually, I like learning. This is science. This is this is maths. This is engineering. I know there's a big push in America right now to get more females into engineering. We've been talking to companies about how to.
That is huge. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we have the same issue here. It's it is a responsibility. I think companies just need to get out there and kind of start dispel the myth that it's not male dominated. I think we're starting to see more and more coders and computer science, and as that becomes more prevalent across multiple roles, it's not just you can be a coder. There are so many different roles, particularly within my company, that people can be involved in. We hire a lot of artists, a lot of animators, a lot of designers. All of those, are technology-based jobs, that aren't just about coding. I think, but I think the reality is that that computer companies, tech companies, need to get out there, give up some of their time, get into schools, get into places, and start talking to students and saying, this is where if you want to be here, this is how you get here, and it's a nice place to be.
And you're right. I mean, it's not all. I mean, coding is a big part of it, but there are other areas. I mean, if you have a child who is artistically inclined, and yet and can design, images using a computer, I mean, the images I'm looking at for Safari Tales. You look at the little animals. They weren't drawn on pencil and paper. I mean, they were drawn using computer graphics. You have artists. Have you thought about that aspect, involving kids, or is it strictly the coding right now?
Yeah, I mean, if you notice when you play Dino Tales, you'll notice that the very first thing it does, it flips through a storybook.
Mm-hmm.
All of those drawings have come from kids. They've all been sent through to us, and we've put them in the game, and we refresh them ever so often. So a bit like an old-fashioned TV art show. You can send your pictures in, and we'll put them in the game, and we'll get them out. And when we do the focus groups and we meet kids at schools, we're always talking to them about what do you want to see next, what kind of design should you do, and the aesthetic needs to be approved by them. Everything gets designed in conjunction, really, with our target audience, be it teachers or the kids or players. I think it's if you ignore them at your peril, to be honest. And again, the characters that we had, I've got a great in-house art team, and they had a lot of fun making those, and then showing them to kids, and kids coming in and going, no, those eyes are too big, they're actually scary. It's like it's staring at me. So it really has been with Dino Tales. You'll find a whole lot of questions in Dino Tales you can create that are very random, that were all submitted by children that have been put in. And every time we do an update, we include some more.
So what can we over here at the U.S. learn from the UK gaming industry in relation, say, to education, and vice versa as well?
So, yeah, I think the biggest problem that you guys have over there is that you're still very region based. You're very state driven. Whereas, I mean, it's very unusual for us to steal a march on you guys and get coding, for instance, on a national curriculum. But we only have one curriculum. We're effectively the size of one state, so it actually works quite well. I think certainly in Obama's recent address, and the drive of STEM and the drive of coding, I think there needs to be it's going to be hard to do that, to make a mandate in which this is the way that coding is taught, and this is the way that coding needs to be driven. I think the only way it's going to happen is you're going to need, like, it's one of the reasons we made Code Warriors free, is because we want to try and make a very good, high quality free resource that everyone can use. There should be no politics involved in adopting it in a classroom because it doesn't cost anything. And the outcomes that's kind of a driver of it. And if enough people start generating that, and enough people start creating proper entertainment that teaches, that is a place where you can learn, then I think you'll start having the teaching community take charge of that level across the board, and you'll start seeing it happen at that level. I don't think it's going to happen at a government level necessarily.
Right. It's to hope that there are no politics involved in this, and really, obviously here at Computer America, we're all for all things tech, and we think so too. But I mean, we're still fighting to make sure evolution stays on the books here. I mean, it's the school curriculum from state to state can vary so much,
Yeah.
and definitely seeing tech in a couple of states definitely take hold. But it's just getting over that hump, just getting people to really understand that coding, even if you aren't going to be a coder in the future, yes, there's a huge job demand, but even if you're just a chef, if you're in the service industry, just anything, knowing the language of computers doesn't hurt, does it? Just going forward, knowing how computers work really makes a big difference in everyone's lives.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I keep talking about coding or teaching kids coding or teaching people to code, but actually what I'm saying is that you should have an appreciation of the digital architecture that you sit on. You don't necessarily have to become a coder in order to appreciate the technology that is going on right now. That how much you're watching on TV is science fiction and how much is science. You should know these. It will start to inform. You can't actually have a serious conversation about privacy unless you understand how algorithms work. It will inform every aspect of our discussions going forward. I don't think everyone has to become a coder. I'm certainly not going to become a coder, but I have a very good grasp and appreciation of code. I wouldn't be able to do my job and talk to coders if I didn't. And I just think it's just important. It's like any other language. You should just be learning the basics.
No, that makes a heck of a lot of sense. I mean, in order to communicate, understanding what goes on behind the scenes, you don't have to be a whiz at it, but it's certainly understanding is going to help you do your job and be more productive in the particular area that you're choosing. You understand what they have to go through to make something happen, and so your demands or requirements might,
well, hopefully you just reach a point where people aren't saying that photo is a little blurry. Can you enhance it like they do on CSI? That'd be great.
It's funny to say CSI because I've been trying to connect my house. I have so many devices in my house and getting everything done. It's my house is now a very connected place, and I'm starting to feel that I want to call a digital plumber. I want to get someone in that I can go, my house doesn't work, how do I get this all connected? And I think in the future that's going to happen. This is, coding is going to become a very blue collar skill. It's going to become a very, it's and in much the same way that it mirrors the Industrial Revolution. At the beginning of that, it was the very rich lords that were inventing steam engines and with a purview. By the end of it, it was the working man that was running all the machines. And I see coding no different. It's not just a case of the educated elite. I think everyone's going to have access to it, and everyone should have an appreciation of it.
Yeah, I mean, you see, even in movies, again, which kind of emulate what you watch sci-fi. A lot of time, the high tech people what's considered are basically like maintenance people. They're the blue collar, and they're doing all the codes and running the ships or running the computer thing, and it's and they just maintenance. And
then there's a whole nother multi-hour conversation we can have, unfortunately, about automation and all that's going to bring, and job loss and that kind of thing. But yeah,
but we don't have time to get into that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we're getting close to the end of the interview, Mark. So people want more information about Kuato Studios and how can they get involved with what it is that you're doing? Our listeners.
So we're a very open studio. We have multiple media channels that people can reach out to us on. The website has them all. Code Warriors is about to go through a big overhaul to make it more to really bring the community to the fore, because we've launched it. There's a lot of people using it, but we're about to put a whole load of areas of in place. If you're teachers, then obviously we have a lot of materials for you for free to digest. And even if you don't, to be honest, and this is a terrible plug, but even if you don't use Code Warriors, just looking at the learning plans that we have in place and applying them to other products show how, they might give you some ideas on how to run your classrooms or how to introduce kids to code, which is basically build something first. I often use this terrible example. It's horrible, but I can get from the airport in France to my hotel by speaking French, but I could never write the syntax of what I just said. and I think that's how you need to start approaching code as a language.
Right.
Teach kids to use it, utility driven, build something, create something, whether it's an app, it's a robot, and then start breaking down. This is what went on. Show the result first.
So when they go to the website, kuatostudios.com, and of course we have a link to it at our website at computeramerica.com, people can find out more information. Or costs? Are there any costs involved? Starting off with what you have to offer?
No, Code Warriors is 100% free.
All right.
It will never be subscription based. Never have internet purchases. It has nothing. The analytics are free. The learning materials. It's very important to me that there is a a free gateway to learn to code. I don't want it to be any barrier for anyone to have it. If anything, it allows me the ability to have a platform to make more noise about the fact that people should be coding. That's what we get from it as a studio. It's there free and it will never be charged for.
Well, Mark, obviously you're doing some great work, and I'm glad we were able to let our listeners know what you do at Kuato Studios. And again, it gets KUATOSTUDIOS, KuatoStudios.com. And or if you forget that, just go to ComputerAmerica.com. It's right there. We have a link right to it at our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. Mark, I want to thank you for being here with us on the show.
Thanks.
You're doing some really great work, and we wish you the best of luck. And keep us informed. If something new comes up, certainly let us know, and we'll turn around and let you know, and let our listeners know too. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah. Thanks for having me, and but also very well done on getting Kuato pronounced for the entire show correctly.
Well,
Hey, we're broadcast professionals. What can I say?
We try with Kuato. It's our job. So.
Yeah, you say Kuato, I say Kuato.
Yeah. Oh no, I have to call the whole thing off.
Mark, thanks again for being here with us. It was a pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, so there you go. Again, you can check it out. KuatoStudios.com. Mark Horneff. Okay, coming up in the next hour, we're going to have computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. What do we got? What are some of the? I think we have a list of the 25 worst passwords for 2015.
Yeah, they have a new list out every year. So 2015, there were a lot of bad passwords. So if you hear one of those, you have a bad password.
I mean, password is no longer a good password.
It hasn't been for a long time.
Evidently not. That's why they keep breaking into my account. All right, we got the top of the hour break. We're going to be right back for another hour of the Computer America show. Ben and I will be right back. Please don't go anywhere.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And if you're just joining us, well, where you been? Okay, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Love to have you here when we're live. Certainly welcome you to listen to us at any time of the day. We have archives of all of our programs at ComputerAmerica.com. Just click the archive tab, and you can see all the different places that carry the show, like the Blog Talk Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network, the TuneIn Radio Network. I mean, they're all there. And also, you can see other places that carry archives of the shows. We have our own YouTube channel, so we have links to that. So you can watch the live videos. Stitcher carries us, SoundCloud carries us, Apple's iTunes, all carry the archives of the Computer America Show, so you can listen to them at your own convenience. But we like you here live, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So again, just finished up with Kuato Studios. Mark Horneff, the managing director, talking about their Code Warrior program. Very interesting. Really do. They're doing some good work out there, and you can see that for yourself. Again, if you want to call us during our news portion, we certainly love to hear from you. 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through, or submit a question any page at ComputerAmerica.com up in the upper right-hand corner, the submit a question link. So we got lots of good stories coming up here, Ben. Anything you want to talk about before we begin our news segment?
No. I think we're still booking, and we will continue to be booking for honestly, I came back with I think like the final total was like about 250 cards.
Wow.
And each one of those is a prospective guest. They're either a guest, an article for a product review, or something or other, or just a friend. I made a few of those out there. But yeah, so we'll be booking those for weeks and months to come. Though I know that I believe Lego Education, kind of similar to what we just did today with games and education. Lego is supposed to be on next week sometime. So things like that from companies that you have definitely heard of. They'll be on the show. So
Excellent.
Look forward to more and more guests.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that said, let's do some computer and technology news. Okay.
All right.
Right. You line up the first story. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. Listen to them. Listen to us. Check them out at slimwareutilities.com. You'll be very happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com.
All right, and we're going to kick this off with, of course, the one that everyone wants to know about, and that is, was my password on the worst password list, and should I be worried? So, yeah, for all of you out there, passwords are a very, very common thing that we all have to, unfortunately, deal with, and in today's day and age, let's face it, having a dozen to 20 different passwords is not uncommon because you sign up for that many services, and every service wants you to be safe and use a password. So, of course, there will be redundancies, which we don't really advocate. But worse than redundancies are, of course, simple passwords. And simple and, worse passwords are very, very common. And here's how we get that list. This is, again, this article we're pulling from Max and PC, but this list has been making the rounds. And this is by Paul Lilly. And, of course, so Star Wars, and by the way, this is going to play a theme, in that Star Wars made the list this year because of all the Star Wars, movies and hype and all that kind of thing. Apparently, it was enough to get Star Wars on the list of top 25 worst passwords. Wow. So, without further ado, if you hear any of these 25 passwords, go change it, because you know that all of these are being loaded into hacking machines that will check your password against all of these. So, number 1 is, of course, the infamous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Is that still around?
And if you ask why 6, it's because a lot of passwords require you to have at least 6 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which, by the way, has been the reigning champ now for 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So next one, number 2, password. Yes, the number 2 worst password is password, which again has been unchanged for almost forever. But a password always ends up on this list. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because we're getting more complicated and we have 8 minimum characters now. Mm-hmm. So people are taking the hint and being just as stupid. We have QWERTY, pretty obvious with that one. QWERTY, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 through 9. Football, yes, football, folks. So if your password is football, it's probably not that secure. Football, baseball, welcome, by the way, is new. 1 through 0, not just 1 through 9, but 1 through 0. ABC, 1, 2, 3. I guess if you're a Michael Jackson fan, unfortunately. What?
The Michael Jackson password, yeah, ABC.
Yeah.
2, 3. Exactly.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's not secure anymore. 111 is not secure as well. For some reason, this number 15, I had no idea. I'm sure it means something, but 1QAZ 2WSX. I'm an idiot. I just looked down at my keyboard and it makes sense. So imagine take your finger, go on the 1 key and go straight down, and then put on the 2 key and go straight down on a QWERTY keyboard. So That's new, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So they're saying it's still bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, it made the list.
How about 3 EDC or 4 RFV? You know.
I'm sure people have done it, but that's actually pretty creative. Unfortunately, it made the list, so enough people have thought about it, and now it is officially a bad password.
Well, you can do it backwards though. You can go ZAQ1 and XS.
I'm sure every permutation of the QWERTY keyboard is in password crackers. So,
all right, don't do that.
Yeah. So Dragon, also on there. Dragon Master Monkey, let me in. Let me in as your path. Really, folks? Are we really that lazy? Log in. Now, here's where we get to it. Princess.
That's new.
We are all expecting Princess because Princess Leia or Princess in the Star Wars hype. That's what we're, kind of attributing Princess to. QWERTY UIOP.
That's the top row of the keys.
The entire top row of the keys. They are getting smarter, folks.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Solo, as in Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Password with a 0. So, don't think you're clever just because you threw in some numbers in with your letters.
Mm-hmm.
Password with a 0. And then 25 is Star Wars.
Yay, Star Wars.
So, there we go. That's the top 25 list. That's the top 25 worst passwords of 2015. If you heard any of those or if you are anywhere similar to those, you have to know your password is not secure.
Change it.
Crazy.
Yeah. There are some permutations of keys. Charles Tennell was telling us some of these variations where you pick a letter and then you go to the left one and to the right one.
That isn't so much a permutation. That is because the other ones are kind of simplistic where you go 1, you go down 2, and you go down. He's talking about like take the name of your dog and instead of just typing your dog out, say you go down 1 over 1. And that'll be the new key. So, let's say your dog's name is Dog for some reason. You would put, X, J, blah, blah, blah. Like it tricks to make your password more secure than just a straightforward name, whole word, something common. It's going to change it up, which is what Charles Tindall was advocating.
Okay. But what if your dog's name is Murgatroyd or something?
Get a new dog.
Get a new dog, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next story coming up here that we're doing. Again, Computer Night Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities. This is from Engadget. And we talked about this. When we talked about it a while back, it was just sort of on the horizon. Well, evidently, it's now here. According to Engadget, Amazon Dash is now ready to refill your printer or washing machine. Okay. Dash refills are available now on a handful of devices. So basically, we're talking about these little buttons that you can stick on on anywhere really, on an appliance. Let's say you have one of these things and it has the Tide logo. If you like using Tide laundry detergent. And evidently, and all you do, it's a little button. It's about, a little over an inch in length.
You can think of it like the Internet of Things, but it's essentially a little dongle that is made by these providers, made by Tide, made by, whoever makes your paper, made by these companies that you press one simple button and Internet of Things magic happens. It's Wi-Fi connected and it will do everything.
Yeah, all you do is push the button. And basically, when you push the button, Amazon will automatically order resupplies, for you, and that's it. So
and that's the thing. Like you, and it's only Tide. Like you can't take a Tide, quick checkout kind of deal, a Tide Dash button, and say, but I really like, enter other laundry detergent. I'm drawing a blank right now. Downy. It's like, let's say I really like Downy. Like you can't reprogram it to order something else, but it will put the Tide thing that you've chosen before. It'll put it in your shopping cart, pay for it automatically, and send it out all with one button press.
What happens if you hit the button accidentally? You have a lot of Tide coming at your way.
You better go hop onto your computer and cancel that order really quick.
Okay. So basically, now, as Ben said, you don't have many choices at the moment, but obviously, as this begins to make its way into the consumer world market, you'll be able to get more. For example, a Brita water pitcher.
There you go.
And with a dash refill option, so you can do that. So I guess when you're running low on the filters, you can just push the button and it'll send you more filters. I guess printers will have it. You can just hit it. Now, you know what I have in mind right now? I'm using an Epson printer, which I love, the Expression 830. It has a little software program in there, and it detects if the ink is low, and then it pops up on my screen and says, "Hey, would you like to order more ink?" Because it's low. You can just click it and do it that way. So it's a virtual version of Dash. It just pops up on your screen, which is
right. But this is bringing it into the physical world, and it's it's. I can't help but think that this is a way, because it's highly integrated with Amazon. That's how this is happening. And we know that Amazon, we just did a story yesterday about how they're getting more and more clearance to use drones.
Yes, exactly. Well, you see, the whole idea...
They're fully expecting that these Dash buttons are going to be a hit, and that, hey, people are going to be ordering, one package of paper, one Tide detergent bottle.
Well, that's it, because basically it says, rather than keeping ample supplies, just in case, which basically costs you money. It's money just sitting there until you get around to using it. You keep a backup. Now you can just let this little gadget order everything just in time. Oh, I'm running out. Hit the button, boom, and you get it. You don't have to worry about storing it. And then when you hit the button, a little drone will come by in 30 minutes and drop off your
in a dream world. In Amazon's dream world, it will automatically resupply you, and it will just drop it off on your doorstep. So you say, oh, check that out. The dish detergent is low, and you just walk out to your front porch, and it's sitting there waiting for you.
That's it. Yeah, so you won't have to keep money tied up in future supplies, which can get costly because they do add up. Right now, if you hit it, it won't come by a drone. It'll probably, a delivery service will probably drop it off to you. But still, very quickly, and in most cases, you don't have to pay extra for that.
Right.
It's part of the service, especially if you're like a Prime member.
And who isn't these days?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was very cool. I mean, it was very speculative when we did it last time, but evidently it's working.
We did a story on the Dash button when it first came out, and without the drone program, it really didn't. Because we were talking about, why would you want a button that you just press when you can just go online? I mean, it's so easy to do online. Why would you bother? But if it automatically senses and you can just press a button to do it either or,
and besides,
it's starting to shape up.
And besides, your computer might not be located in your laundry room or your dishwasher, where your laundry devices are. You have to go upstairs to the computer, log on, now you just push the button. It's attached.
No, but your phone is. I mean, if you want to get technical about it.
Yeah, but it's just easier. Hit the button. There it is, done. And it says Tide on it. Okay, I need Tide. Push the Tide button. I got it. And it's on my doorstep the next day. That makes sense.
I see a future where these Dash buttons are going to be on all of these appliances, and it's automatically going to know the levels and how much you use and how much you need and when you're going to run out. And Amazon will have it sitting on your doorstep. If you're so far invested into the Amazon ecosystem, I can see a future where Amazon is going to make just living in a house very, very simple.
And also medical purposes. They say it's even available for the GMAID blood glucose monitor. So if you need strips, you're running low on strips, it'll actually automatically detect that you're doing that. You can hit the button, and either way you'll get it. You don't have to have a closet full of strips standing by. You can just get them when you need them.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
There's so many things that we use in our daily lives that we run out of, so often, and I welcome a future where you can kind of just subscribe to a service that will renew your supplies instead of having to remember it every time. Because how many times have you run out of paper plates and then you're like, Oh, I forgot to pick those up.
Paper plates, right? You just hit the paper plate button, the Chinette button,
Right.
and it'll deliver it. No, I think
Possible.
it is. It's going to be awesome. It'll be plenty of examples of where that will become useful.
Right. So, with our next story, we're going to go from things that you stick on appliances to an actual appliance. And this is actually a review from CNET, and CNET does some great product reviews of some of the weirdest things that I've ever seen. So, but here's one where it's a home pizza oven that will bring the heat for gourmet pies, and pies being pizzas. So, but it's pricey. So this is the GE Monogram Pizza Oven that they reviewed, and this is Brian Bennett, and $10,000. $10,000 for a GE Monogram exactly pizza oven.
Wow.
So, and he kind of starts off saying that using an ordinary home oven to duplicate the work of top-notch pizzerias is a tall order. And that's true even if you have impressive pizza making skills, seasoned experience, and quality ingredients all at your disposal. So here's where the $10,000 Monogram GE pizza oven may just help you along. So this is of course brought to life by the first built micro factory. The Monogram pizza oven is definitely an extravagant purchase. At 10 grand, I wouldn't disagree. GE promises that the appliance offers performance rivaling commercial ovens, making it worth every penny to aspiring pizzaioli.
Pizza. You mean this is not like taking a Tortoni's pizza out of the freezer and tossing it in the microwave?
Do you mean Tostinos?
Yeah, Tostino's.
Tortino. Yeah. No. This is they and we're not gonna get into too much of these specifics of this thing, but yeah, they say that this is gonna give you rivaled quality because if you've ever been to a pizzeria, you've seen that giant oven that looks like kind of like wall
yes,
graves, that kind of thing, and they're huge and they can have tons and tons of pizzas. This is more of a single pizza solution, but it's going to give you the same cooking environment as one of those.
And you can select, look, pizza, Bianca, New York style, Neapolitan, California style, right on the display. It's got the pizza type right on the oven.
Right. Yeah. It's and it looks like it has all the bells and whistles, and you can cook many kinds of pizza in this. And he says overall it really did offer a great pizza making experience, but at the end of the day, 10 grand, it's going to be a very niche product.
Yeah. Well, maybe
again, you can make a decent, I'm not going to say great pizza, I'm not going to say amazing restaurant quality pizza in your oven, but you're going to make an okay pizza in your oven.
Okay. Fair enough. It's certainly, I guess, going to beat the DiGiorno freezer pizzas.
Better than microwave.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Well, I think we have time to do a couple more stories here. This one from Engadget. Ben has an Xbox One and is enjoying it. But evidently, according to this article, the Xbox One gets a smarter home screen and leaderboards. And this is coming in February. It's a February update. It's big on bragging rights, according to the story. So after the holiday break, Microsoft is back to trotting out the Xbox One software upgrades. And the next one, according to them, is a doozy. The impending February update will introduce a smarter home screen that lets you rearrange pins and update your activity feed whenever there's something new. Now, would you find that useful? I don't know how your Xbox One activities are, Ben, but do you find that something that you would use?
The Xbox One user interface has, for the longest time, just been one of those things where it's like, Windows 10 came out and Xbox One, we're still waiting for a system-wide user interface update. Like the one that we currently have is not that good, like at all. So this looks like a step in the right direction, but anything is better than what we have.
Okay. Well, it's much better if you're particularly competitive. There's something called a gamer score leaderboard that lets you know whether you're the top achievement hunter among your friends. A leaderboard is nice, I would think. There's more. It's now easy to join a friend's Twitch stream from a game's hub or tile. You'll also know who's in the party you're joining, get better friend suggestions, and have the option to hide content you no longer want to install. Microsoft is teasing a few features shared in common with the Xbox app on PCs and phones too. There's a newly integrated avatar store and an Xbox news hub. I think that's kind of cool. Now, if you want an advanced look, the February update is available now on the Xbox One for preview program users, and the Xbox beta app will get their new features next week. Microsoft hasn't said exactly when everyday gamers will get the update, besides February, of course, but you shouldn't have to wait too much longer. It's going to be here in February. A nice update. It looks to me like a nice update. Again, I'm not the one with the Xbox One. You're the one with the Xbox One. So
yeah, again, it looks nice if you have friends. Sadly, most of my Xbox friends are from back in like 2000 and I don't know 8 or something like that.
You haven't
no 2007.
You haven't made new Xbox friends?
No, again, I made most of my Xbox friends when I was in high school and middle school. Like I really didn't make too many Xbox friends lately because everyone's on PlayStation 4. So it's kind of hard to find new people to play with. But I mean, if you have a very populated friends list, this could be very cool.
Well, maybe this will also help be conducive to finding new friends.
Not really. Like it's not the Facebook of Friends update. You know, it's just a user interface update. But again, anything is better than what we currently have.
Okay. All right. Well, there it is. It'll be out in February. So if you have an Xbox One, you'll be seeing this shortly.
For sure. So, yeah, and we have a lot of different stories here, and like there's some that I like to think of like as like higher level news stories where you have to talk about the story, but then you have to talk about the concepts behind the story. The pizza one was a lower story because that's just the product. Like we didn't talk about the merits of pizza making in the home and why we want pizza as a society. But all right, here's one that we can wrap up in about 4 minutes. Here's Craig.
Yes.
Do you know about chat apps?
Chat apps. These are apps that enhance an existing chat room.
Not enhance an existing chat room, but just create a different way to communicate. So you can think of it like there's the iMessage platform for Apple.
Yeah.
There's Kik. There's WhatsApp, which we're going to be talking about. There's a dozen different chat applications that one can use to retain your just added functionality to different chat features.
All right.
And one of the most popular ones is a service called WhatsApp. But the thing that set them apart was that they were subscription based, where for the first year, not even first month, not even for the first week, but for the first year, you don't pay anything. And then after 1 year, they kind of hoped that you were so invested into their platform that you wouldn't mind coughing up a $1 subscription fee.
$1 for how long?
$1 for I think a year, or $1 for life. Wow. Something very, very low, but
benign.
When it got as popular as it was, when like seriously, tens if not hundreds of millions of people were using this thing. So if everyone gave $1 a year, that's a tidy profit.
Okay.
So now they're going back on their subscription fee though. This is from CNET, and the messaging app is waving goodbye to a subscription and has promised not to replace it with third-party ads, which is another thing that some chat apps do, is that they put native advertising in there.
Okay.
To recoup their costs. So, the popular messaging app on Monday killed its $1 subscription fee, which converts to about 70 pence or about $1.45 in Australian money. I'm assuming $.
Mhm.
So, making its service free for all users globally. In the past, WhatsApp has been free to use for the first year, following which a nominal fee has been charged on an annual basis. But not anymore. The company posted on a blog saying that as we've grown, we found that that this approach hasn't worked well. Many WhatsApp users don't have a debit or credit card number, and they worry they'd lose access to their friends and family after their first year. So WhatsApp is one of the several messaging apps along the likes of Viber, WeChat, and Line that flourished in the wake of 3G internet access becoming almost ubiquitous. So, and after it was bought by Facebook in 2014 for $19 billion, the service continued to grow, and with 900 million users worldwide, it currently leads the pack. Again, 900 million users.
Wow. So each and every one of them just was $1. That's $100 million.
Right.
Yeah.
But so its next challenge will be to keep up with its competitors, which are starting to integrate third-party services into their apps, particularly banking and money transfer. This could ultimately open up new revenue streams for WhatsApp, although these third-party business partnerships are uncharted territory for messaging apps. Although, I mean, being purchased by Facebook in 2014, Facebook also introduced transferring money between friends into their messaging service, if you remember when that happened with Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see some integration because they're being owned by Facebook. That is definitely going to happen. But the company category said it will not be replacing the subscription fee with ads, which is a common method used to make free apps profitable. Instead, it will introduce new ways for you to communicate with businesses and organizations that you want to hear from. Sounds like advertising? I don't know.
Yeah.
These interactions could be with your bank about recent transactions or with an airline about a delayed flight.
Well, yeah. Well, it's an interesting premise. Hey, we're at the bottom of the hour. We got a break, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Stay with us. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Too bad there's no doctor to call when an election lasts more than 4 hours. Hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Exio Psycho Audio Surround Headset. The old joke says that surround sound headphones only work if you have 5 ears, but Exio has a clever way around that in their Psycho surround headset. The headband has 5 small speakers in it, with the front, left, center, and right channels wave-guided forward, and the left and right rear channels backward. There's also a bass driver in each ear cup. The headset plugs into a companion box with an amplifier and controls, which in turn plugs into a system's analog surround jacks. Once set up, the result is indeed surround sound at a quality that gamers will appreciate. Bottom line, when it comes to 5.2 sound from a headset, the Exio Psycho has you surrounded. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Yes, we are in our last half hour of the show where we are doing computer technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. We're just going over the news stories of the day, the latest happenings in the tech world, and we just finished up with WhatsApp no longer charging you that $1.
No, and but they're finding alternative methods for monetizing.
Right.
Yeah. This next story is something I I would think be kind of cool to have, but hey, that's just me. We've seen law enforcement agencies, police officers using tasers, and if you ever seen a taser, it's a pretty hefty device. I mean, it's like a semi-automatic weapon.
Technically, taser is a brand name.
Yeah.
But a stun gun.
Yeah, it's a stun gun. Well, evidently, according to Engadget, they're going to make a consumer version of this. And this looks really cool. There's tasers calling it the smallest weapon ever. And they're saying it's for civilians, not cops. It's gonna be called the Pulse, because that's what it'll stop, evidently, if you get hit by this thing. And will be available later this year for $399, which I think is quite affordable. I can't see your face, Ben, so I don't know. But they're saying that Taser is the mostly known for supplying weapons to law enforcement officers. The company is now focusing on people who are interested in self-defense products. And with this in mind, Taser, has been so rightly pointed out as the name of the manufacturer, is introducing the Pulse, which is a small and lightweight weapon, designed for the personal protection of everyday civilians. Actually, if you're watching Ben's feed, you can actually see a picture of it up there. It's kind of cute looking. It's yellow and black, and but it's like a little tiny version of that. Now, Pulse, which Taser says is its smallest weapon ever, can be easily carried around in a handbag or concealed on someone's back, measuring a mere 5.24 inches long by 4.5 inches tall and weighs around roughly a half a pound. So, now I'm wondering, I guess you don't need to have a license to carry this. It's not like it's a lethal weapon.
No. Stun guns and stun paraphernalia have been part of personal defense, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been in the market for a while. Taser has been traditionally only law enforcement. Yeah. So for them, this is their first consumer item, but other stun weapons have been in the consumer market for a long time. So it's legal. The legality of it has been fought out in the courts, and you can get one. It's just this is the first one you can get by Taser.
Yeah, and this is interesting because to me the barometer of this has always been New York City, because New York City won't let you carry anything to protect yourself. They make it. Yeah, but if you can carry this in New York City, then hey, you can use it pretty much anywhere. The article goes on to say that additionally, the Pulse comes with rechargeable batteries, which is nice. I think buying batteries for the thing. 2 live Taser cartridges. The cartridges, I guess, are the actual probes that shoot out with little wires attached. That's in a cartridge, I guess. laser assisted targeting, and a 15-foot range. The laser, so in other words, when you hold this up, it puts a little red dot on what it is you're about to hit, so you can try it. You can get a more accurate. You don't have to, in other words, you don't have to go target practice anything. You shine it with the laser dot on whatever you want to hit and pull the trigger, and you've got it.
Right.
You in a range of about 15 feet. And most importantly, Taser says that if you end up using it for self-defense and leave it at the scene, the device will be replaced for free. So if you hit somebody with this thing and you panic and you run like heck after you hit them, don't worry. It's a $400 device, but Taser will give you a new one.
That's nice.
It is very nice. The $399 Pulse won't be shipping until late Q1 of this year, so probably around March. But Taser expects to start taking pre-orders on its website now at any moment. I think this is going to be a very successful device. I think everything that I see in here, I can't see any downside to this. It's small, it's light, it's compact, it's affordable.
It's a gun, but I guess other
Non-lethal.
But other stun weapons have traditionally been, you kind of have to get right up on someone and you have to pretty much poke them with it.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel better about you have to get within arm's length of the person to stun them, as opposed to this kind of gun kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because stun, just shooting something seems a bit more aggressive than self-defense should be. But at the same time, I guess 15 feet really isn't that much of a stretch anyways. 15 feet, you can get out of range of that thing very, very quickly. So it's nowhere near the police level of stun guns, but in self-defense, it's definitely a different product.
How many feet does the police one go?
That thing reaches I've seen people take them down from 50 feet away. Those things have quite the range.
Well, 15 feet still, I would think.
I've seen someone taken down with a taser, just feet from me. It sounds like a gun going off. They have little explosive charges in them that propel those things into your skin. It's a serious piece of equipment.
No matter how thick the clothing you're wearing, either.
No. Just whenever a taser's been used, you have to call a paramedic out because they get injuries.
Wow. Well, now I am assuming the cartridges that they're referring to are the I guess they're gas propelled, the projectiles that come out.
I would assume.
Yeah.
I would assume they're little CO2 cartridges inside.
Right. Exactly. And it comes with 2 of those. And again, $399. But I like the fact that if you drop it and run, after you've shot someone.
Well, I'm assuming if you report it and then the police find it on the scene of the crime, then they'll more easily be able to link, who, what, when, why, where, if you leave something like that behind. And of course, it could always be returned to you. So
that's true too. Anyway, it's technology. Thought we would let you know about it. And again, you can find it on the Taser website.
Right. So, jumping from tasers, let's go to the end of civilized society as we know it, and only exaggerating a little bit. Where this is Verizon. Yes, who knew they were the forebears? Verizon is selling data cap exemptions to content providers.
Really?
So this is data cap exemptions to video, music, app downloads, and ads can be exempted from caps for a fee. Yep, this is the end, folks. This is the end time. So. Verizon Wireless, like AT&T before it, is now charging online content providers a fee to get their service exempted from customers' data caps. This is the Freebie Data 360. Content providers are billed for each gigabyte they serve to customers, while the consumers can access the provider's service without using up their data allotment. And they have a quote here saying that content providers can sponsor specific consumer actions on a per-click basis, free of data charges for subscribers, including mobile video clips, audio streaming, and app downloads. So this is, of course, AT&T has been selling sponsored data under a similar scheme since January 2014, and T-Mobile has been exempting certain video and music services from its cap, which I think T-Mobile is like Binge On. I think it's T-Mobile's service. Now, here's the thing. They're controversial. And by the way, the article from Ars Technica says that data caps exemptions are controversial because they put services without the exemptions at a disadvantage. That's the whole crux of the argument. The FCC net neutrality rules don't specifically outlaw data caps or data cap exemptions, but the FCC evaluates on a case-by-case basis whether specific implementations harm consumers or businesses. The FCC has been holding meetings with companies that implement data caps, but it hasn't taken any action against them. So, and kind of goes into the nitty-gritty of just what they're going to offer. But essentially, if you sign up with Verizon's freebie data thing, you can get up to 30 seconds of mobile video streaming or 30 minutes of audio streaming without without adding to the consumer's data cap. So, and they're saying that with Freebie Data 360, businesses can sponsor some or all of their app or website. So, now why is this bad, Craig?
Well, you would think that it wouldn't be, because if I'm going to see it advertised and I'm not paying for it because I'm getting that they're paying for that, it doesn't go to my data plan. I would think that was better, but maybe now because it's bad because these retailers are going to be more inclined to do it.
It's bad because not everyone is big enough to make a deal directly with Verizon and have their content subsidized like this. And if you tell someone that, hey, let's just use audio streaming because 30 minutes of audio streaming free. Let's just say that, okay, you're on Verizon and Pandora has made a deal and Spotify has not. If you listen to Pandora, you'll get no data charged to your data cap. As with Spotify, it will charge you every bit of data that you consume will go against your data limit. That's going to be a huge incentive for consumers to choose one service over the other. And then let's just forget about all the other up-and-coming audio music streaming service platforms.
Ben,
that puts them at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, but Ben, this is the American way. This is the capitalistic way. I mean, when I go on, I watch a TV commercial that a company's paid, X amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a TV commercial for their product. My inclination is, well, it's not fair to buy that product because
what if I told you that the internet is not American?
Okay,
the internet is worldwide. The internet is an institution beyond American values.
But it's still a business, and the point is,
the internet's not a business.
No, but advertising on it can be. And I'm just saying the fact that if one company screams foul because they can't afford to advertise, or the other company can, and
this is not for advertising, Craig. This is for promoting content.
But
this is not audio clips. This is an actual service that people are going to be using. This is beyond ads. This is actual content.
Well, all right. Well, I'm saying, but so one company can pay to have their content delivered, whatever it might be, and the other one can't afford to do it, and they're going to scream foul because they can't. That's not necessarily, I mean, it would be nice to have.
But that's anti, small business. That's killing the marketplace where where we have grown up and known and have fought for with the FCC to keep the internet a fair and open place. That if you have an idea, you can go on the internet and you can promote it and put it wherever you want without having to make deals with certain companies and just have it out there. This is the exact opposite of all that.
Yeah. It is a bone of contention. It is a problem. But the point is, where do you draw the line? If a company is willing to pay money to get more exposure over, let's say, the other ones that can't.
We had a fight about all this not even a year ago about quote unquote internet fast lanes.
Mhm.
And I think you had a problem with those. You might not have, but that was struck down by the FCC because, you could take the same argument that, hey, no internet is going to slow down. But if some companies want to pay more to have their content service faster, then they can pay that. But again, that was found unfair on the internet
Well,
and shot down.
yeah, it's. What I'm saying is that.
Okay, let's try to bring this a little bit closer to home so that we can make Craig see this. Let's imagine that Blog Talk Radio,
Huh.
They have a couple other big shows other than us, but they have, let's say they make a deal with all of their shows that they host on Blog Talk Radio.
Mhm.
And let's say the top 10 are so big that they can afford to pay, a couple $1,000s to make sure that their stuff is not only promoted, but gets delivered at a higher bit rate, at a faster speed, at all that kind of stuff. That's, let's just face it, that you really can't afford.
They actually have something like that pretty much in place now, Ben.
They do.
Yeah, so some companies do that. They actually get their own channels. And if they can afford to do that, that's great.
My brain is so dead right now that I can't even make this analogy work. We're just going to move on.
I understand what you're saying.
There's a problem here, and you're having me try to chase it. I really can't follow it right now.
Fair competition, I understand. And then where do you draw the line? And I guess it'll all be worked out in the courts and things like that. What's fair and what's not fair. Unfair competition.
Essentially, a version of this was already shot down by the FCC.
Okay.
The idea of data cap exemptions is their way of getting around the very thing that we fought against not even a year ago. And the fact that they're still doing it in a roundabout way is offensive. But okay. I guess you really don't see it that way. So it's really not worth talking about.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I was just giving you the other side of it. So, but okay. Well, we certainly haven't heard the end of it, and I'm sure we'll see more of this as it plays out. Okay. All right. This next story, again from Engadget. This is a cool. This is an app for everything. Evidently, they have a calorie counting is now made easier with this pretty lunchbox. Today's technology can do fitness tracking, and we've talked about the refrigerators with that are hooked up to the Internet of Things, so you can see what's in there, and the refrigerator will order things for you that you want. Well, evidently, this company, they realized that when you want a nutritional plan, you obviously one of the things you have to do is measure your nutritional intake, and the best solutions right now require you to follow a food plan or log the information into your by yourself, which makes things more daunting. Well, with that in mind, a startup has come up with a prepped pack, which is a good-looking modular lunchbox that comes with professional recipes tied to iOS's Health Kit. Okay, that's Apple's Health Kit. In other words, you simply fill up the box with one of these recipes, and your iPhone will know how much nutrition you're gobbling up. And if you like, you'll also get the added convenience of preparing lunches for multiple days in one go, which I think is kind of slick. The prepaid or pack itself, or the prepped pack, actually say itself, consists of a case with a stylish wooden cover that doubles as an eating mat. That's nice. And this houses modular containers of different sizes to allow multiple configurations, along with a magnetic silverware that can be tucked into the middle of the mat. The leak-proof, BPA-free Triton containers are stackable, which makes it easier for prepping multiple Instagram-worthy lunches in advance, courtesy of recipes curated by chefs, dietitians, and nutritionists. Now, as for the software, the nicely designed prepped app lets you search recipes by a specific diet type, health goal, key ingredient. Naturally, each recipe contains all the nutritional values that get fed into iOS's Health Kit, And according to the startup, it's still exploring some ideas on how to let the app know that you're having lunch, likely by way of machine learning and smartwatch integration, so that over time, it'll learn when and where the user tends to have lunch in order to provide a seamless experience. The app will also be available on Android, but there's no word on whether it'll get Google Fit integration for nutrition tracking. This will likely depend on how well the product does over time. The Prep Pack is the work of a two-man team, and basically their Kickstarter campaign has just gone live, and it's offering a basic pack for just $50. But you'll probably want to pay more for the extra containers or even go for the couples pack option, which is nice. And if all goes well, these will be shipping in June later this year. I don't know. What do you think? It looks nice. It looks a little oriental. I mean, it's something that you would see in the like a Japanese type of thing. Everything's kind of compartment. It looks as wood. It looks very nice. I don't know. I don't know if I could eat that way with something like that. Does this make you hungry? I can't hear you, Ben. Does this make you? I don't know if this makes you
better than a brown paper bag, but it's again, it's something that we saw at CES. It's getting sensors into everything, and in this case, we have a sensor, we have a scale built into the lid of this thing, and I'm sure a couple other sensors packaged into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's taking things that we normally just say, okay, here's how you do it, and this is what Josh Boykin said. Here's how you used to do things, and thanks to the Internet of Things, here's how you do them when they're connected to the internet. So packing your lunch, yes, it works. It works the old way just as well. But here's how you could do it with the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
Is this better? I don't know. But now it's possible, and now you get to make the choice.
Yep. Okay. So it looks good. I don't know if I would do it, but it looks good.
All right. So we have time for one more quick story, and I think we're just gonna knock this one out because it's been floating around for a little bit. This is from Max and PC, the ever proficient Paul Lilly, and yeah, Windows 10 is enjoying a rather high satisfaction rate among its users. So yeah, and you start off by saying that not all operating systems start off with a very high approval rating. That's usually reserved for every other release of Windows, which Windows 10 happens to be. But yeah, this is from the market research firm, the International Data Corporation, asked about 1,000 U.S. adults about their feeling of their operating system of choice, and found that of those surveyed, about 30% said that they were running Windows 10, while 27% were running Windows 8, and 28% on Windows 7. So a pretty fair makeup of that. And I'm sure Mac was rolled into there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But out of Windows 10, 60% said that they had a favorable rating for Windows 10, whereas only 1 in 10 were described as unfavorable or not very favorable for Windows 10. So obviously, overwhelming majority
people like
Windows 10.
Yeah.
So, and of course, polls and surveys are funny things as they can be manipulated to fit the agenda of whoever is asking.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen this before in a couple college classes, not to, shake my Ivy League diploma at anyone,
Mm-hmm.
but just the way that you ask questions affects the outcome of the poll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very, very easy to say something like, Craig, do you support giving money to illegal immigrants?
No.
Craig, do you feel that every child in this country, regardless of their background, deserves an education?
Yes.
You just agreed to this. You just agreed and disagreed with yourself.
Yeah, same thing. Exactly.
Yes. So, depending on the way that you ask questions, you will get different answers.
You're correct. Yep.
So, and they have a quote here saying that what the report shows is that 30% of the respondents in the survey claim to be running Windows 10. As with any consumer survey, it's not possible to verify what they're claiming. So, and just to end it up with the last quote here, the poll shows that Windows 10 like it, that people using Windows 10 like it, which is positive. And the survey shows that while many consumers have embraced Windows 10, they're not necessarily buying new systems to get it, which is something that we kind of knew. We just talked about 120 million different devices are now running Windows 10.
Mhm.
I'm sure the free upgrade path that Microsoft has set out does not hurt that number in the least.
Yeah, exactly. So the bottom line is everybody seems to be happy with Windows 10. I think for the most part, and I would tend to agree with them. I think we're pretty much out of time. Again, I want to thank our guest in the first hour from Kuato Studios, Mark Horneff, talking about their Code Warrior program. And again, you can check all that out there. At computeramerica.com, we have links to all of those as well. Coming up tomorrow, I know normally we have Intel scheduled, and they still may be with us here, but I think it's post-CES. Everybody was still kind of settling down, and we may or may not have them in the first hour of the show. Regardless, if we do, we will either we will have one of our
90
correspondents
seconds.
filling in for them in the first hour. But I'm sure, regardless, we will have something of value and entertaining in the first hour. And then in the second hour, we have scheduled more computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Don't forget, at everything at computeramerica.com, make sure that you're subscribed to our contest. It's our social media contest. It's under the Interact pull-down menu. Just select that
60 seconds.
and get your chance to win the Logitech MX Anywhere 2 wireless mouse valued at $80. We will be giving one of those away this coming Friday, but you can't win unless you enter. And it's so simple to do. It's just easy to do. Just all the instructions are there, and just follow that and get your entry in. And who knows? You might be a winner. We might be calling your name this Friday. So thanks again to all of you for being with us here today. And Ben and I will see you here same time, same station, same place. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.
10 seconds.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, thanks to all of you who are watching us on our Hangouts. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow. Same place. Take
Bye.
care. Bye, everybody.